Did you already have DEI in mind when you came here, or what kind of piece did you have in mind when you wanted to?
No, I didn't necessarily have a piece in mind. But DEI is something that's always, top of mind for me because I often wonder who comes up with these things. And so, when everybody is up in arms over something, I want to pay attention to it to see what has them up in arms. And it all comes back to, blackness, right? Like anything that, like I said in the piece, anything that leads to black progress, for some reason you have some white people who think that equates to white failure. And so they don't want that.
Yeah,
They've never wanted black progress.
They don't want black progress because I feel like it's like a saying I always heard. It's the equity saying, like, you gaining anything makes it feel like you're taking something from them.
And that's ridiculous. There's more than enough to go around.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I know.
And by the way, I don't even know if what's going around is the actual pie they're eating from. They have a large enough pie that they don't even have to give us a slice of that. Give us we can have our own ovens and our own ingredients and bake our own pies. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need a slice of your white pie. We don't need that.
So how was the writing process? How has the whole process been for you coming in? You're being back again for the second time.
I love it, man. There's not too many things I love more creatively than coming in here and sitting down with the writing team of The Daily Show, man. I mean, the best in the business. I think that they were already on their A game. I think John, the legend Jon Stewart coming back got everybody even sharper than they was.
He did. He came back. I was like, oh, I got to work.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I love it.
I thought y'all was super sharp last year when I hosted the show a couple of times, but just even coming back now, it's even more sharper. And I mean, even sitting we were on a Zoom one time, talking about the DEI stuff, and John just popped in on the Zoom, and John was like, yo, Charlamagne, I want to give you this. And so he gave me something that actually unlocked a whole bunch of other thoughts, which probably the writers hated because...
No, not at all.
I sent like 30, 40 different points.
I swear to you. Not at all. When he said that, the point he was making was about like how slavery, this all kind of stems...
DEI was created by the oppressor.
Yes, exactly.
And so that made me start thinking about, this is something that corporate America created, and now corporate America is upset about. And when you look at like what happens a lot of times in these cases, right? Most of anything that causes black progress is going to cause conservatives to lose their shit 90% of the time, right? So when it comes to something like DEI, it feels like they're hijacking the language, right? Which they always do. They did it with woke. They do it with critical race theory. So they're hijacking the language of DEI. So then we start to hate it. Woke they used woke so wrong that we started, you know what, y'all can have it.
It used to be third eye stuff. It used to be when my dad would smoke weed, he'd be like, you gotta get woke. And now, don't nobody.
Now we don't even want it.
Yeah.
They're hoping we do that with DEI. That's why they take the words, right? Diversity. Of course black people want that. Equity. Of course black people want that. Inclusion. Of course black people want that. But they're hoping that we go, man, we don't even want diversity, equity, inclusion no more.
We had a segment about mediocre black people. What inspired, that was one of the points you were making, what inspired the mediocre black people in DEI?
Because we don't want that either. Like one of the things that we complain about a lot is mediocrity. Like, you'll have white people in these, positions of power, and they don't bring anything great to the table either. They're just there because they're the mediocre white man. Yes. So, you don't want DEI to come around and they just have the mediocre woman there or the mediocre black person there. You want people who are actually great at what they do. The problem with a lot of these things is that when you hear like a Charlie Kirk or whoever, just because I'm black don't mean I'm mediocre. So you can't say things like, if I saw a black pilot, I would be afraid, or if I saw a black pilot, I would second guess whether or not I wanted to be on the plane. That's your bias. That's your racist bias. You look at black people as inferior, right? So just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm inferior. Just because you're white doesn't mean you're superior. So I was just like, we don't want any mediocrity. Period.
Do you think that this mediocre narrative that they're pushing about black people and on affirmative action, do you think that might stick? Is that something we should be afraid about? Like in 6 months?
I think it's already stuck. It's stuck. It's been sticking for 400 plus years. But
it's part of almost like the actual Republican talking point.
Yes, because they believe that. They believe that. We know the Republican Party, is the party of the Confederacy. Has been forever. So they already believe that. There's nothing they're saying now, rhetoric-wise, that they already haven't felt forever.
Okay.
It's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. That is the narrative they have of black people. That is the perception they have of black people. That's why profiling will never go away. You know, that's why, you know, they can look at a black person and already think they got us pegged. They can label us thugs. They can label us deadbeat fathers. All of that already exists. So if you already feel that way, there's nothing I can do to change that.
What do you think is the things we can do?
The biggest issue that we have is we don't have no real leadership. We don't have any real movements. Because, you know, when we're talking about DEI being something that corporate America invented, yes, it is. It's something that they invented to cover their ass, to keep from being sued, to make it seem like they were doing something after George Floyd. When people started looking under the hood and realizing like, well, y'all talking all of this wokeness and what needs to be done for black people and yada, 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 but your whole board is white. So they literally came up with this DEI thing to keep from being sued. But, you know, there's real solutions that can be put on the table. Like, you know, the George Floyd Policing Act is a real solution, right? The John Lewis Voting Rights Act, that's a real solution. When we were in the meeting, you know, somebody said it. Somebody was like, there's a difference between marketing and creating actual laws. There were actual laws that have been put on the books to help black people. Affirmative action, when done right, is something that actually can benefit, you know, black people. So you just need real leadership and real movements to push for real legislation.